I'm Vinny Politan. This is Closing Arguments. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Take a moment, exhale, listen. What do you hear? Nothing. It's over. All the evidence is in. The arguments have been made. And a trial that started last year took 5 months in total, delayed by COVID. The Robert Durst trial is now in the hands of the jury. The lawyers can't talk anymore. And they've been talking a lot. Especially when you think about this case, you think about the prosecutor, the passionate prosecutor, John Lewin, who has really made it his life's work, this trial. I mean, he knows every fact inside and out. He has been on top of this case from the beginning when he interviewed Robert Durst down in Louisiana. He's been carrying this thing on his shoulders. He believes that Robert Durst is a killer. He believes he's gotten away with this for almost 40 years, and he wants justice. Now, it all started with John Lewin last year with his opening statement, which took days and days. It was unreal. It was an amazing production put together. It was like watching a documentary, this opening statement. And then the trial began, all these witnesses and tying things together. And then the closing arguments, right? This is it. The last chance to say anything. So how do you take a case that is like, really, when you look at the allegations here, now it's the murder of Susan Berman, but everything dates back really to the murder or the disappearance of Kathy Durst. We're talking almost 40 years. So how do you take 40 years and you have to wind it all down and finish it? How do you leave things with this jury? That was a big question I had going into today. So right now I want to share with you the last 2 minutes and 48 seconds of John Lewin, the passionate prosecutor, trying to convince this jury that Robert Durst is a murderer.
This case started back in January 31st, 1982, when this man killed his wife. This man. I don't care that he's old. I don't care that he's sitting in a wheelchair. I don't care that he's sick. It's irrelevant. He has killed 3 people in this case. 3 people. It is time that he is held accountable. And the evidence in this case is proven. I want to be clear. I'm not saying convict Bob Durst because he killed Kathy or convict Bob Durst because he killed Morris. I'm telling you, this man murdered Susan Berman. He murdered her. Absolutely, unequivocally, positively. That's what he did. We've done our job on this case. We can't do anymore. You guys now have this case. It's going to be yours. It is never easy to have to convict somebody of murder. And some of you might want to say, well, he's old and he's decrepit, and why does it really matter? It matters because of Kathy and of Morris and of Susan. Justice matters. Consequences matter. Do not let this narcissistic psychopath get away with what he has done, what he did to Susan Berman. There's one verdict in this case, one verdict only. That is guilty. That is guilty of special circumstances, having killed Susan Berman with a firearm, having done so by lying in wait, ambushing his trusted friend, putting a bullet in the back of her head, which thank God she never saw coming, doing it because she was a witness, because he didn't want to accept the consequences of his conduct. Make him accept the consequences. Go back there, ladies and gentlemen, and please do your job. Do your duty. This is not a difficult case. This is not hard. It's overwhelming. Please go back there and make this man accept the consequences for murdering his best friend, Susan Berman. Again, I want to thank you all for your time and for your attention. I'm sorry this has gone on for so long. And again, thank you very much.
Big finish. It was a big finish. What do you say? This narcissistic psychopath Wow. All right, let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, joining us live tonight from Los Angeles County, California. I can't say I'm shocked by it because I know the passion he carries with him. That was a big finish, Chanley.
Oh yeah, he did not mince words, and what our camera really didn't show is he was moving around the well of the courtroom, and he was pacing back and forth towards Robert Durst and pointing at him, calling him names and saying that he was guilty. And this was the last few minutes of his long rebuttal close, several hours of rebuttal from Prosecutor Lewin, which during most of it, the jurors just sat there taking it in, not taking notes. But it was these final moments where the jurors were leaning forward. He had them glued in on his every word during that time. And it also seemed as if Prosecutor Lewin became emotional, pausing dramatically at times. This was the final moment for him. He's been working on this case for almost a decade, Vinny. So this was the final words he had for this jury, and it was the most powerful part of the day.
You know, it reminds me of when I watched the July 4th fireworks, right? These amazing fireworks are going off, and they just keep going off, and that's what this trial was like. But then, at the end, it's boom, 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 boom. And I think that's what John Lewin did today. Now, will the jury, you're telling me the jury was glued. Does it persuade them? We shall see. But it didn't persuade them enough that we got a verdict today, Chanley.
That's right. They worked hard, though, around 3 hours almost, back in the deliberation room after a lunch break. The judge instructed them. They took about an hour and a half lunch break. They worked several hours. They took even an afternoon break, sort of on the same schedule they've been on for court days. And they were observed being friendly. They walked outside in the sunshine and seemed upbeat this afternoon before they went back in for about an hour or so more of work. But no verdict yet from this jury, no note or anything like that, Vinny. They will return tomorrow for more deliberations, but in the afternoon. So after a lunch, so about 1:30 local, that's later, 4:30 Eastern, they will begin their deliberations again tomorrow. So they won't have a full day, but then they can also return on Friday to deliberate if they haven't yet reached a verdict.
And it's kind of appropriate for this trial, which has stopped and started and hasn't been, continuous every day. So it'll be interesting to see how those deliberations can continue to go. This is a case, and there's so many different things about this case, and it begins obviously with COVID protections and the prosecutor wearing the bandit mask that he's been wearing to protect himself and others, right? Others wearing the shield, but a lot of, it seems very personal, and it almost seems like the judge is like a boxing referee in the middle of it, and he's got to sometimes just stop things by like ringing the bell. I mean, how would you describe this to someone who hasn't been watching what's taking place inside this courtroom?
Right. I really think Mark Wyndham, the judge here, is the unsung hero of the trial. He really is the referee at almost like a sporting match. Even Lewin making some references. He wished a scoreboard was on the wall of the courtroom. But at times, these attorneys would really go back and forth to each other to the fact that the judge had to intervene and calm people down. Last Thursday was an example for Prosecutor John Lewin when he exploded after the jury left in court. But what was so unique, at the end of every court day, we would see, Judge Wyndham talk to the attorneys, but he would, instead of a gavel, court's done for the day, he has a little bell, which is so unique. In fact, it's rare here for judges to use in the state of California. So we put together a little piece to remind us about this bell.
I'll adjourn. Department 1 is adjourned. Department 1 is adjourned. All right, Department 1 is adjourned. All right, you can't unring the bell, but you can ring it twice. Department 1 is adjourned.
He rang it twice that time. But Vinny, that just goes to this judge's Zen-like personality. At one point, intense legal arguments would be going on. He would say, okay, stop, take a breath, be calm. And he would even say he would go home and meditate on a decision before he would make a ruling between the attorneys or whatever objection was being made.
Unbelievable stuff, and we're going to continue with the verdict watch tomorrow. I want to bring in the think tank right now, get some reaction to everything that's happening. Joining us tonight in Atlanta, Georgia criminal defense attorney and the attorney for several of R. Kelly's accusers, Gerald Griggs is with us, and in Seattle, Washington, trial attorney Ann Bremner. Great to see you both. Gerald, I want to get your take on this. Okay, this trial became very personal. I mean, we even heard in John Lewen's closing argument going after this narcissistic psychopath. I mean, not words you usually hear from a prosecutor, but even the allegations from the defense going after the prosecutor, then the prosecutor going after the defendant and the defense attorneys during arguments, the closing arguments in front of the jury. How does that play? Who does that help? What does it mean?
It's a lot of theater. It's a lot of emotion, and I think the jury's going to take it all in. But at the end of the day, it's going to be about what you've proven and what the law says. And so I do understand the emotion that's going through the prosecutor. I've been in situations where I've had a case for so long that I've lived and breathed and emotionally become attached to that case. But you can't let that seep into your argument to the point that you seem like you're frothing at the mouth, which is exactly what was going on. So I think as a defense attorney, I would have used that against him. I would say if you had so much passion in proving your case, you wouldn't be pounding the desk and screaming, because when you don't have the evidence and you don't have the facts, you pound the desk and use emotion.
And Bremner, the prosecutor did sort of address that in his argument. He said, listen, if your loved one was murdered, was killed, wouldn't you want a prosecutor fighting for you? Do you think that's a good way for him to explain? I mean, because we've watched lots of trials in the last 20 years, and we've watched a lot. Of all the prosecutors, this one's probably top 5 in terms of absolute manic passion for the case.
He's probably number 1, Vinny. I mean,
Could be.
I don't know, at least as of today. I mean, I really expected him to be caught in mid-sentence at the end, and he was still talking, and the judge would say, you're done, right? I mean, he's just so zealous, and he's so passionate. But I think it's very effective. I thought that was an interesting thing he said to the jury. It was almost like a violation of the golden rule, saying to the jury, put yourself, in the shoes of a victim's family. Wouldn't you want me to be your prosecutor? I mean, I'm surprised it didn't draw an objection. But, the call to arms at the end, your analogy of the fireworks and the huge dramatic explosion at the end, that's exactly what he did. It's almost, remember, Presumed Innocent, that book by Scott Turow that's been around forever. He said as a prosecutor, you have to turn and point at the defendant. And that's exactly what John Lewen did at the end. Great finish.
Okay, so how about this other issue, Gerald, which is the defendant himself, right? He's old, he's feeble. The prosecutor, we heard him directly address all of that, but we also heard the defense address it and use it as an explanation. Like, you're not going to like this guy. He's not a nice person. He's quirky. He's different. He's on the spectrum. He's old. He's decrepit. He can't hear. All these things. So what does that mean, Gerald? Is his age and his feebleness a mitigating factor, an aggravating factor, or is it irrelevant as the prosecutor wants it to be?
I mean, it's a little bit of all of that. And I mean, everybody in the courtroom was trying to appeal to emotion. And that's why I thought at some point there would be an objection, because emotion plays no part in a criminal case, nor the determination of verdict. In Georgia, there is a jury instruction on that. So I just think that there was much to do about a lot of theater and not really focusing on the evidence or the lack thereof. There are a lot of issues in this case, the lack of forensic evidence. There's now the admission of actually writing the note that was found. Those are things that people should have harped on more than the emotion. Whether the defendant is feeble or old or decrepit, or you think he's psychotic, that's got nothing to do with what you can prove and how you've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt.
He's also narcissistic. You forgot that part, Gerald.
Yeah, I forgot that one.
Narcissistic psychopath. All right, let's bring back in Chanley Painter. All right, Chanley, so they're done for the day. They're coming in the afternoon tomorrow and then taking Thursday off.
Thursday off, and they have Friday available all day for deliberations, Vinny. Expecting this to wrap up by the end of the week. We shall see. They're only considering that one count of murder against Robert Durst for the death of Susan Berman, but there are those special circumstances that they need to consider and make a decision on, and a special allegation of a firearm. So it may take some time for them to work through that jury instruction packet and fill out the verdict forms.
Now, when you say expect it wrapped up by who's expecting it wrapped up by Friday?
I think that's the general sense.
Really?
That I hear
That's
that
interesting.
It may, but
And you know I have the Politan theorem on how long jury deliberations normally go. Might have to be thrown out the door for this one because the trial was so long, because it's like a day for every week. But if we add up 5 months, it's like, I mean, we could, no, I don't think this is going to be a 4-week deliberation. But I'll tell you what, if we go into next week, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked, even though it's the one count. But we'll see. Friday, a lot of verdicts on Friday, Chanley. That could be right on. Chanley Painter in Los Angeles tonight. Thanks so much.